Here's the complete, continuous dramatic Reddit-style story in English from first-person perspective, no sections, no formatting breaks. I still remember the sound of that hospital monitor beeping in the background, the air smelling of antiseptic and fear, when my grandmother grabbed my hand and whispered something that changed my entire life. Her voice was weak, trembling from the edge of death, but the words she spoke were so sharp they cut through everything I thought I knew about my family, my marriage, and the people I trusted most. She said, "He isn't who you think he is, and neither is she." I froze. My husband, Daniel, was standing right there beside my sister-in-law, Emma, both of them pretending to be the picture of concern and family love. But in that moment, the way Grandma looked at them like she knew something dark made my heart sink. What did she mean? What was she trying to tell me before she left this world? You tell me, what would you do if your dying grandmother whispered that your husband and your own sister-in-law were hiding something from you? Would you dig deeper or brush it off as the rambling of an old woman on her deathbed? Because I didn't brush it off. I couldn't, and thank God I didn't, because what I found out next destroyed everything I believed about loyalty, love, and family. Let me start from the beginning. Daniel and I had been married for 6 years. He was charming, dependable, and always made me feel like I was safe. I came from a close family. My mom, my dad, and my younger sister Emma. She and I had always been close, even though she had a tendency to be a bit spoiled. She was the golden child, beautiful, funny, the one who could get away with anything. When Daniel first met my family, Emma was still in college, and I remember him joking with her, laughing in that easy way he had. It never seemed strange back then, because Emma flirted with everyone. That was just her personality. Or so I thought. Life went on. Daniel and I got married, bought a small house, and began talking about starting a family. Everything looked perfect on the outside, but slowly cracks began to show. Daniel started staying late at work, claiming deadlines, and I noticed he'd get defensive when I asked simple questions. Emma, on the other hand, had started coming around more often, especially when Daniel was home. She'd bring food, sit too close on the couch, and laugh a little too hard at his jokes. I told myself I was imagining things. I didn't want to be that jealous wife. But sometimes, when I'd walk into the room, I'd feel like a silence had just fallen, a silence that wasn't natural. Then Grandma got sick. She'd always been my rock, wise, blunt, and someone who could see through anyone's lies. Even as her health declined, she would ask about Daniel, about our marriage, and about Emma. She'd often tell me, "Keep your eyes open, darling. People hide things when they think you're too kind to notice." I used to laugh it off, thinking she was being her usual cautious self. One evening, Daniel got a call that Grandma had collapsed and was in the hospital. I rushed there, and to my surprise, Emma was already in the hallway, her makeup smudged, eyes red. She said Daniel had called her to let her know. That didn't make sense to me. Why would my husband call my sister before calling me? But I didn't have time to question it then. My focus was on Grandma. She was weak, her breathing shallow, but when she saw me, she smiled faintly and squeezed my hand. Daniel and Emma stood near the window, whispering to each other, and Grandma's eyes darted toward them. That's when she leaned closer and whispered those words that still haunt me. "He isn't who you think he is, and neither is she." I tried to ask her what she meant, but her eyes closed and she drifted into unconsciousness. She passed away that night. The funeral was quiet, emotional, but even through my grief, I couldn't shake her words. I tried to dismiss them as confusion or delirium, but deep down, something told me there was more. Over the next few weeks, Daniel acted differently. He seemed distant, guilty even. He avoided eye contact and often stepped outside to take calls. Emma, meanwhile, was strangely supportive, always dropping by to check on me. but I could feel her watching me, studying my reactions. One afternoon, I was cleaning the living room when I found Daniel's old phone in a drawer. He had upgraded months ago and left this one behind, or so I thought. For some reason, I turned it on. It took a while to charge, but when it did, I saw something I can never unsee. There were messages, hundreds of them, between Daniel and Emma. Some were innocent, but most were not. They started years ago, long before Grandma's whisper, long before I ever suspected anything. Messages full of hidden meanings, inside jokes, late night confessions. Then pictures, selfies, photos of them together in places I never knew they'd been. My stomach turned as I scrolled. My hands shook so violently, I nearly dropped the phone. My husband and my sister. I remember sitting on the floor, feeling my world collapse. How could they do this to me? How long had everyone known? Was Grandma the only one who saw through them? My mind went back to that hospital room. Maybe that was what she was trying to tell me, that they'd been betraying me behind my back, that the people I loved most were the ones destroying me quietly. For days, I said nothing. I needed time to think, to plan, because rage is one thing, but revenge, when done right, is colder, quieter, and far more terrifying. So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have confronted them right away, exposed them to the family, or would you have waited, played along, and made them regret ever crossing you? I decided to wait. I needed proof that couldn't be denied. I started acting like nothing had changed. Smiling, laughing, even inviting Emma over more often. Daniel was cautious at first, but soon relaxed, thinking everything was normal. I began tracking his calls, checking his credit card statements, and one night, I followed him after he claimed to be working late. He didn't go to the office. He went to a small motel on the edge of town. And guess who showed up 10 minutes later? Emma. I watched from my car, my chest tight, every breath feeling like fire. They disappeared into the room together, and I took pictures, every damning photo I could get. Then I left. I didn't need to see more. I had everything I needed, but I wasn't done yet. You see, if there's one thing I learned from Grandma, it's that you don't just confront snakes, you make sure they're scared to ever slither near you again. So I built a plan, slowly, carefully. A week later, I pretended I was planning a small family dinner to honor Grandma's memory. Everyone was invited, my parents, Daniel, and of course, Emma. I cooked her favorite dishes, lit candles, played soft music. Everything looked perfect, but what they didn't know was that I had transferred the photos and messages to a slideshow file on my laptop, which was connected to the TV. Dinner started off awkward but pleasant. Emma was chatty, Daniel was trying too hard to act normal, and my parents were reminiscing about Grandma. Then I stood up and said, "I have something special to show you. Grandma left something for us all to see." That got everyone's attention. I clicked play. At first, the screen showed pictures of Grandma, happy moments, smiles. Then, suddenly, the next slide appeared. Daniel and Emma at the motel. The messages flashed next, one by one. Silence filled the room, so heavy it was suffocating. My mother gasped, my father's face turned red, and Daniel's fork clattered to the table. Emma went pale. I turned to them and said very calmly, "This is what Grandma was trying to tell me. You two disgust me." Daniel tried to speak, to say it wasn't what it looked like, but the evidence was undeniable. My parents looked devastated. Emma started crying, begging me to let her explain, but I didn't want explanations. I wanted them to feel fear. I told them both to get out of my house. Daniel begged me to talk privately, but I refused. I told him he had until morning to collect his things and leave. Emma tried to follow me to the kitchen, sobbing, but I turned around and said, "You lost the right to call yourself my sister the day you betrayed me." My parents didn't say a word. My dad escorted her out. That night, Daniel slept in his car. I didn't sleep at all. I sat in Grandma's old rocking chair, staring at the pictures, wondering how she knew. Maybe she saw the way they looked at each other, or maybe she overheard something. Either way, I was grateful she warned me before she left. In the weeks that followed, things got messy. Daniel tried to contact me, apologizing, saying it was a mistake. Emma left town for a while, too ashamed to face anyone. I filed for divorce, and though it was painful, I felt strangely free. For once, I wasn't living in their shadow or lies, but revenge has a way of echoing back. Months later, Daniel lost his job. Apparently, someone sent his boss screenshots of his infidelity and unprofessional conduct, something I may or may not have had a hand in. Emma's new boyfriend dumped her after learning the truth. I didn't have to lift a finger beyond that. Their own guilt did the rest. Every time I walked past Grandma's framed photo, I whispered, "You were right. Thank you." Because if not for her, I might still be living in a lie. Looking back now, I realize I didn't just lose a husband and a sister that night. I lost my innocence, the blind faith I had in people. But I also gained something much more powerful, self-respect. I stopped settling for crumbs of love and started demanding honesty, even if it hurt. So tell me, was I wrong to expose them the way I did? Should I have handled it differently? Or did they deserve every ounce of fear and humiliation that came their way? If you were on my side, hit the like button right now, because no one deserves to be betrayed by the two people they trust most. And if you want more stories like this, real, raw, and shocking, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss what comes next. And of course, share your thoughts in the comments below. What would you have done if your grandmother's dying whisper revealed the darkest secret of your life? I'll see you all in the next story.